you want to be the 1%, you can't listen to the 99% of advice. The reason that people are upset at you winning is because you're a mirror to them. And every single time that you succeed, it's a reflection on all the risks that they were unwilling to take that paid off for you. Software was downloaded onto you as a child from your parents and from your school, from your teachers, from your environment. Again, unless you consciously have updated that software, you're running somebody else's program. So a lot of what you think success is just actually somebody else's complete definition, not yours. If you're in tech and you're making six figures, you're just kind of sitting around waiting to be fired.
Most people spend their whole life working a 9-to-5 job, trying to save for retirement, just to find some freedom, to control their schedule and control their calendar and doing things they love. Today's guest, Brian Luebben, is teaching people how to do just that. He's the founder of Action Academy, a community teaching people how to replace their income within 36 months so that they can buy their freedom back. Brian was a corporate employee working in sales, making $250,000 per year, when he discovered it just wasn't enough. After walking away from a $250,000 a year corporate job, Brian built several multi-million-dollar businesses and launched Action Academy, where he can help others achieve this same goal of traveling the world or just buying their time back. But Brian's story just isn't about success. It's about questioning the system. He went viral after calling out the 9-to-5 hamster wheel, asking the question that most people are too afraid to ask. Is the life you're building even the one you want to live? In this episode, Brian and I break down why financial freedom isn't just about money, it's about clarity, and how to build a life that makes other people uncomfortable. If you've ever felt trapped, doing everything you can and you're still not free, this is the episode for you. All right, welcome to the show, Brian.
Dude, it feels good to be here, finally.
Yeah, thanks
long time coming.
Yeah, it's great having good friends trying to connect us.
Every good friend on earth.
Yeah,
like
it started with Dave
people.
Pierre. Yeah, then it was Cassidy, and then it was Jack, and finally we get to meet in person. So let's talk about breaking free from the system. I saw your viral content years ago, and I was like, wow, this guy's onto something. I really associate with it. So you left a 6-figure corporate job for freedom. What was the exact moment you knew you were out of the corporate world, you had to find something else?
Well, the advice that I always give in that one is look at your boss's boss, because there's two drivers of human behavior. You either have enough pain to prompt a change, or you have a compelling enough vision in the future forward that's pulling you forward. So it's push motivation versus pull motivation. And so for me, it was a little bit of, I had some of the push, but to be completely honest, and for most of my people that listen to this type of stuff, it's just like, things are pretty good. You know, most people are kind of in that middle zone, you know, where for me, I was making $250,000 a year selling uniforms. So I was literally selling uniforms to factories, industrial workers, like local municipalities that get dirty. We would come, clean the uniforms, change them. And I did that for 4 years, and I was top of the company. And so there wasn't really a moment necessarily where I was just like, this has got to change. From a pain perspective, that came later. What happened for me was I had a moment where I realized what was possible. So I'm more of a pull motivation guy versus push, because if you're push, then that's a reactive position to be in, because you're sitting around waiting for that prod to hit you. It's that family member having a heart attack because they're overweight, and all of a sudden you drop a couple of pounds really easily, right? And so for me, for the first time ever, I was just like, it's been 2.5 years of the company. I haven't taken any PTO. I was that guy. I was like, I'm just going to work every single day, work every weekend, whatever I need to do to be the top of the top. And then finally they said, Brian, if you don't take PTO and you don't take a vacation, you're going to lose it. And I said, okay, cool. I'm going to take 10 days and I'm going to go somewhere. And so I go to all my friends at the time, I think I'm 23, 24, and I say, hey, let's go to Italy. And nobody wanted to go to Italy. And so I was just like, what are you talking about? You guys don't want to go to Italy. And so I flew to Italy just by myself, and I was like, I'm going to go to Italy. And so I literally have it tattooed on me right now. It's Cinque Terre, so it's in the northwest coast of Italy. And it's just like this beautiful day hike where you hike down, Cinque Terre means 5 towns, and you hike down each one of these little towns, and it takes the entire day. And as I was doing it, I just saw like these beautiful views and vistas on this cliffside hike, and it's the first time I've been out of the country. And I, at that moment, realized, wow, I need to see all of this. And this hike is pretty hard, and there's no way, I don't think I can make this at 70 years old. So I got to do this today. And so from that moment, I came back and I switched on my sales podcast and corporate podcast with real estate investing podcasts and like entrepreneurship podcasts. And then that's kind of where the bug started.
Yeah, I think people that haven't traveled, whether it's outside their state or outside this country, for me, it was starting to travel really in my late 20s. It opened up and kind of changed your outlook on life a little bit. It worked
Completely.
for me. Sounds like it did the same for you.
Completely.
And the world's a big place.
Yeah, it's funny because from my life experience, the loudest people are the ones with the most limited experience. And so for me, after traveling the world, I've been to 41 countries in a couple of years, man. I'm 30 years old. I've seen how different cultures and different countries think of life and think of happiness, think of success, think of drive, think of ambition. And the American way is one flavor. The European way is another flavor. The Latin way is another flavor. The Japanese and the Asian way and the Middle Eastern way, they're all different flavors. Just like religions. Like I got to taste all the different religions. I got to taste all the different ways of life. And that's what gives you taste. That's what gives you context, because Steve Jobs was Steve Jobs. And he talked about this in an interview because he did one thing very, very well, but he had such a broad experience of different aspects of the world that he was able to bring that art and bring that beauty into computer and consumer electronics. So a lot of people are in this mad dash to specialize in their lives, especially people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, which I would argue is all still very young. I would say go experiment, go taste everything, go drink the wines, dance, like figure out what you like, because then you have a body of experience that then you can decide what you believe and what you think. So it's funny because everybody that's like so political, so religious, so this one way, has been living in the same small town for 40 years.
Yeah, it's very true. It's once you start traveling, whether it's states, countries, cities, you just start open up to see another way of life. And I really think it's outside the United States. I think Americans are built on the hustle culture and it's competition, maybe by your neighbor or your friend or whatever it is. And people are living to kind of how other people see them. Where if you go to another country like Italy, even I love Italy. It's one of my favorite countries. They just want to be happy there. They don't care what kind of car they drive. A lot of them don't drive cars. The trains are so good there. I just did Lake Como in August for my first time ever. And like, I was in Milan, but I said, I'm going to take the train to Lake Como because I want to check it out and bring my family here next summer. And I'm so glad I took one night up in Lake Como. It was one of the most beautiful places I've seen.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, ironically, I've been everywhere in Italy besides Como because it's been on my relationship list. So I have this specific list. Anybody that's single, I recommend. I have this list where I'm like, I'm not going here or there until I'm in a like dedicated, loving relationship. So it's like Amalfi Coast, Cappadocia, Turkey with the balloons, Italy, like Lake Como, the romantic spots. I was just like, I went to Capri this last summer, and I was just like, dude, I'm gonna jump off a cliff. I'm the only single person here. This sucked, but now I'm thankfully in a relationship, and so I can go to those spots. But
yeah, I saw that, and I think the list is such a cool idea. We have a list going for my family. I never had it as a single guy. It was like, well, I want to go travel all the tropical places in the world, and Bali and Fiji and Australia. And now that I have a family, I'm like, let's look at like cool family destinations similar to what you're doing. So congrats on the new relationship. I saw you posted that recently. And Lake Banff, I saw you went to the Fairmont. That was a place I went when I had a new girlfriend at the time years ago. That place is incredible.
It was insane, yeah. And that was on my list as well for like places that I was just waiting to go. So far we've done Banff, we've done Napa Valley, over in California. So it's been absolutely gorgeous. But I want to double click on your point there for somebody listening to this that's like, okay, cool. Like, where's the financial, what am I going to take away from this? And so what I would offer to them is that the point of this podcast, the point of everything that we teach is to get everybody rich as fast as possible so that they can understand it's not the answer to happiness. but they won't believe me until they become rich. Once you're rich, then you're like, got it. I see why all the celebrities, all the athletes, all these people are depressed. I understand it now because they thought that this would scratch an itch that was unscratchable by this kind of ointment over here. So I would invite people, like we'll talk about a lot of financial strategy and business. We can talk about business, buying, real estate, whatever we want to talk about on this podcast. But at the end of the day, it's a different muscle to learn how to invest in a piece of real estate or run a business than it is to be happy or giving or generous. And so I would invite people, even if you have $1 million in your bank account or 100,000 or 100, that's a muscle. The generosity muscle, the happiness muscle is one that you can work on today. And that's something that I really pride myself on kind of talking about and teaching on in Action Academy and through our content is it's the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Because I think the ultimate failure would be to get everything you ever wanted and be super rich and be on a yacht by yourself or be in a private jet by yourself or have no friends, no family, but all the money in the world. That's the ultimate failure. You know, so I'm like, let's get everyone rich as fast as possible so that they can then start working on the happiness and all the rest of the stuff. Because I'm like, man, it's like you got bad people making money, you got good people making money. I want the good people to have as many kids and make as much money as possible because then they're amplifiers. So that's my goal. That's why I try to teach.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm chasing the same thing. And as you said, as you grow in life, the people that are chasing growth a little more than money, once you start making some money, and you start buying the things you wanted. What I've learned is you buy a nice car or something, 3 months later, you're like, cool.
Yeah,
I'm kind of over it. Yeah. I mean, I fly private jets for billionaires, and they're the same way.
Oh, correct.
They're like, I can buy whatever I want. I just drive this regular Tesla. It's a great car, but I don't need the rest of the stuff. They said the same thing. They're just on a different level of jets and yachts and whatever.
Yeah.
But the same can be said about someone that makes $250,000 a year and just kind of goes to work. They get their dream car, and then they drive to work every day.
But I'll say this. I know billionaires too. I know millionaires too. And not wanting something is as important and as powerful as having it. Because if you're a billionaire and your lifestyle costs $1 billion, you are no more rich than the person who is making $250,000 and their lifestyle, that's their dream, is $100,000. So I would actually argue that that person's richer because there's a delta there. You know what I mean? And so it's crazy to think about because, you know, everybody that I know that it's like ultra wealthy like that. Have you heard of the thing, I think, what's it called? No empty seats?
No,
Have you heard of no empty seats? Yeah. So no empty seats is the best way to spend your money. So what I do is every single trip now, every single event, every single thing that I'm doing, I buy 5 or 6 tickets. If I'm going to a concert, I'm buying like 6 tickets in the front. Or I'm buying, you know, if we're flying somewhere, you fly private, that's what your career is. It's like, I want to figure out how can I get other people in the jet with me? You know, if I'm going on a trip, how can I bring some other couples along? And when people start making money, if you start spending your money towards that shared experience, I think is the best thing for rich people to spend money on. And I think a lot of rich people don't know how to spend money well because they're all pissed off and miserable. So if they knew how to spend money well, they wouldn't be so miserable, man.
Yeah,
I love doing that. That's the biggest thing I've changed.
It's kind of like sharing the wins.
Yeah.
And it is cool when you start making some money and you start buying lunch for friends. It could be small.
It's the one dopamine. It's the one source of dopamine that never goes away is giving.
Yep.
The car will go away. The mansion will go away. The plane will go away. You know, the lawn that you just spent $20,000 irrigating is going to go away. But the feeling of providing something to somebody else with no expectation of return is the ultimate dopamine that will never go away. And you can do that with $10.
Yep. I agree. And it's something that people should just take away. If that's the one thing they take away from this podcast, be more of a giver with no matter what you have. And I think it creates happiness.
Yeah, I mean, that's what money's meant for. Money's energy. Because, again, we could sit here and talk about how to make money, but, like, I think it's a leaky bucket because a lot of people don't know what to do with the money that they get or the money that they already have. And so it's like, yeah, you want to save some aside from a rainy day, but nobody talks about putting some aside for a sunny day. Mm-hmm. Like, I call it sunny day fund. What do you do with 10% of your money that you can just blow discretionarily? Like, I want to go ball out and do this crazy dinner with my friends. Like, that's cool. You know, if it's $300. Or for me, I'm like, dude, I'm chartering a freaking mega yacht. this next year in the south of France. We're doing Monaco F1. We're going to be trackside in a yacht. And I did a week of a super yacht. It's 94 footer, and it's got 5 cabins, 10 people. I have no idea who's coming on that yacht with me. But that was the big thing that I just recently did. Now, that may seem completely unattainable for somebody that's listening to this, but remember, I'm 30 years old. Like 3 years ago, I was freaking selling uniforms. And now it's like we're chartering this freaking yacht. And so it's possible. You just need to put it in your vision.
Yeah, I love it. You went viral for calling out the 9-to-5 system, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think that message hit such a nerve with so many people?
I'll actually go the opposite approach because why did it piss so many people off? Why we can talk about why so many people agreed with it, but that's kind of an easy answer. But let's talk more about, and what's more serving to the person that's listening to this or watching this is, why were some people so angry about that? Here's an example. I post a video where I say, I don't like the idea of a corporate job is stupid. Why am I working 40 years of my life with people I don't know, like, trust, or respect for the option possibly of having fun at 65 with arthritis? I was like, I don't want to go to Mykonos when I'm 65. I've seen that guy. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that's 30 in Mykonos. And so I don't want to wait. And then Fox News picked up this video randomly and aired me in front of millions of people, unbeknownst to me, and said, hey, look at this guy. This guy's going to be a broke, divorced loser when his wife walks out on him for no money. Like, look at this freaking Gen Z or Gen X or millennials. Like, what idiots these people are. I'm like, why would you be upset with me, a stranger, for living out my dreams? And so it's a really useful frame for everybody that's listening to this, which is the reason that people are upset at you winning is because you're a mirror to them. And every single time that you succeed, it's a reflection on why it's a reflection on all the risks that they were unwilling to take that paid off for you. And so when they look at you winning, when they look at Curt winning, when they look at Brian winning, when they look at anybody watching this winning, they're saying, wow, hey, that risk that I know I should have taken, I didn't, and it worked out for them. I'm pissed off at myself. I'm going to take it out on you. Mm-hmm. And so that's why a lot of people early in their financial freedom journey, they kind of call out to their friends and family for support, and you won't find it there. You're not going to find it there because they're all going to hold that mirror up and say, hey, I don't like that you're taking this risk. And so your family's going to say, hey, no, do the safe thing that I did. Your friends are going to say, do the safe thing that I'm doing. So if you want to be the 1%, you can't listen to the 99% of advice. You can only listen to the 1%. So my rule of thumb is if you haven't done what I want to do specifically, I'm not listening to you. And that's hard at scale. That's 99% of people. That means that almost every single person that I meet, like in a room of 100, I have 99 of them. I'm like, not listening to you. So what does that mean for the one? Because somebody listens to that and they go, yeah, that's me too. But they've never identified what that 1% looks like for them. So now they're just kind of disagreeing with everyone. Doesn't make sense. So it's like, that's why you have to have a crystal clear vision of what that 1% looks like so that you can go find that guy, find that girl, and emulate what they do, get in their world. And then, so that's what I've done over and over and over again is I get into these people's worlds that I aspire to be like, and I watch how they move, I watch how they act, I take that and I apply that into today. And now the only delta between me and a guy or a girl worth $100 million is time. Because I do the same actions and I think the same way and I talk to the same people and I'm in the same rooms. So now it's just time is the delta.
Yeah, like a lot of people talk about surrounding yourself with the right people. Mm-hmm. Like you said, unless someone's parent is an entrepreneur, ran a business, maybe skipped college, they're not going to support your advice.
Oh, no.
To drop out of college, start a business, and chase your dream. They're going
to say, how dare you? I worked 40 years. What do you mean you want to go do Twitch streaming and make $10 million a year? Not to say that that's good financial advice, but it happens, So, I mean, it really just is like, know thyself, right? So if you know thyself, to go back to your original question is like, why do I think it resonated? It's because everybody's got this itch for more and they just can't figure out how to scratch it. And when they see somebody else like me, I scratch that itch for them. And so now my mission is to stimulate them in that way where they watch the video, they listen to this podcast, and that itch is scratched. And now they actually go scratch their own itch themselves. Now I need them to take action. But now that's like, okay, now it's pain, pleasure, Sell them a path out of hell before you sell them the pathway to heaven, the stairway to heaven. So that's what my mission is, to help 1 million people actually take action on it. That's harder. So that's what I've been working on, and that's what I'm continuing to work on for the next decade.
Hope you're enjoying this week's episode of the podcast. If you're into real estate investing and want to consider partnering with Captain Capital, go to our website, captaincapital.com/invest, fill out the simple form, and let's book a call with the team. Now, back to the show. If someone's listening to this right now and they're 10 years into a career, they're kind of top of pay scale, there's nowhere really else for them to go. They go to work every day, 9 to 5. They've got their 401k. They're not really that happy. They feel secure. What is your advice to them if they want more?
Define what more is, because if you just want more, look, man, like I came to this realization in my life where I'm so stressed out. 'Cause here's the other side of the coin, entrepreneurship, where it's an unlimited more. In corporate, you have, I'm going to become a manager, a VP, maybe a senior VP, and then C-suite. That's more, the show. But when you're an entrepreneur, one of the, the other side of the coin is when you have unlimited opportunity, you also have unlimited ambition. And that's a whole other muscle that you got to reel in, because I came to the realization this last week where I said, we're aiming for $1 million month in November. We're aiming for $1 million month in December. And I was like, we're so far behind on the plan to get to the $1 million a month. And I just came to the realization of like, I'm stressing about this so much, and this is a goal I pulled out of my ass. Even helping 1 million people leave corporate in 3 years is a goal I completely pulled out of thin air. I'm obsessed with it. But like, what if I help 700,000 people leave? What if I help 70,000 people leave? That's still, if I did that in my life, if I helped 7,000 people leave in my life, that is a life well lived. And so people need to be careful about more, and they need to define it, and they need to be sure that that goalpost doesn't move too much, because the realization I came to was, okay, so let's say that in 5 years I hit this. All I'm going to do is 100x the goal again forever. And so if I'm this stressed out, I'm always going to be this stressed out. So why don't I just try to change the fuel I'm burning and have a lot more fun doing this? And so I take times of fun, and I take times of like, I want to work on stuff that I enjoy working on, And so for me, I don't focus on more as much as I focus on what type of work do I enjoy doing and with who. And so if people just got crystal clear, you can set a 3-year vision. If we waved a magic wand, if you won the lottery, what's your life, business, and family look like? They can do that. That's a practical tool. But then you have to like regulate that and build that muscle of, how do you mitigate your desire and your ambition while also like moving forward? It's hard. Mm-hmm. It's a toughie, man, because it'll chew you up and spit you out. And most businesses die by suicide, not by genocide, or suicide, not by homicide, because the business owner internally erupts the business and disrupts the business because they're like more, and they're chasing all these different ways. So it's not really the competitors that get you, it's you. Mm-hmm. That's a whole other bag of worms.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that people want to be wealthy, or do you think they just want their time to do what they want?
I don't think people have ever taken time to define what wealthy is. So there's a couple different types of wealth, right? So you have time wealth, you have locational wealth, geographic wealth. So you have monetary wealth, and then you also have like family and love wealth. So, I did this exercise through Tony Robbins where he was like, you stack rank like your desires. And so it's like, what do you value most in life? Is it freedom? Is it time? Is it success? Is it abundance? Is it money? What is it that you value the most? And then you go each piece of the pie, and you go each part of the chart, you stack rank them. You're like, okay, cool. you versus you, X versus Y. Do I want love more or do I want money more? Do I want money more or do I want freedom more? And then you have to stack rank them each one by one. And I did it, and my top 3 were freedom, success, and fun. So freedom, success, and fun were my top 3 after I stack ranked all of them. I think love was number 37 or something. And then his argument was, well, if you had all the freedom and no one to love you, and you had all the success and you had no one to love you, and you had all the money and fun and no one to love you, what was it all about? And so I read this book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who was a survivor in the Holocaust. And he said they took doctors, they took lawyers, they took all of these people that were huge egos, high performers in society, and you put them all together. You take away their titles, you take away their riches, you take away their clothes, you take away their names, you take away everything that's an identifier to them. And the only thing that kept him going was love. The idea of love. Love for his wife, love for his children that maybe he could see one day. And that's the one thing that kept him going. And so when you ask me, like, do people want wealth or do people want freedom? I would say that the ultimate wealth is to have an abundance of love and the ability to choose to work on the type of work that you want to work on. So if you have ultimate wealth, I would say is love, freedom, and doing something that is impactful. And so when people say, do I want wealth or freedom? I'd say wealth is freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And it's different for everybody.
Correct.
You know, and I think it's also, I think it can change over time with age.
Oh, for sure.
My life changed a lot when I had kids. I always wanted them.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And now it's the best thing in life, really. But as an entrepreneur, I think one of the downfalls is if you have a really big mindset, you have big goals. Mm-hmm. The hardest part is balancing a family, in my opinion, if you have kids. Because an entrepreneur, I would like to work 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
But you got to sleep. You got to like maintain your health, and then you got to be there as a parent and a partner. So I find an entrepreneur is my favorite thing in the world. But for me, I've had a big year shift to go, okay, well, hold on. I kind of let my health and family fade a little bit because I was doing too much. Mm-hmm. So now for me, time with my kids is the greatest wealth. I don't need more money. All of that is just great some other day. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to retire my mom soon. I want to do these things. That's all secondary to exact time with my 1 and 4-year-old. So I think wealth changes throughout your life. When you're young, I wanted to drive a nice car because my friends were ahead of me or whatever. Yeah. Now I'm like selling all my nice cars. I bought a Tesla. I'm good.
And why do you want the nice car? Really? You want the nice car for female attention. And then you want the female attention so that you can have love, because if the female only wanted you for the car, then
not true love.
Yeah. It is funny. I actually saw this movie. I don't know where the quote came from, but somebody said, when you drive a nice car and you get out of it, nobody thinks you're cool. When they look at you, they're just imagining what they would look like in that car, you know? And I thought that was really telling. And no, you said something really interesting there, which is there's a lot of people are working really hard in corporate and really hard in entrepreneurship, and they're using the excuse of, I'm doing this for my family, to directly avoid spending time with their family. And so you're putting in all of these hours, for your kids. And it may be a noble cause, but at the end of the day, for kids, it's like love is spelled Time. And so they don't care. And so all my rich friends, it's kind of funny watching them navigate, kids, because all of my friends have kids, like young kids, grown kids, teenage kids, all around. And so I get to learn from them. And that's how I operate now. How I build my system is if I already have kids, because that's what I want. And that's my 1%. And so every friend of mine has kids. And I'm like, okay, what do I do here? Like, how do I do this, right? And they say, it doesn't matter if you're taking your kids to freaking Italy or if you're just taking them to the park. Rocks are rocks.
It's the same for them.
Rocks are rocks.
Yeah.
They just are like, I get to hang out with dad. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have, I grew up in a single mother household. So I didn't have that. So it's like all the way up until I was in middle school, I had to teach myself how to shave, I had to teach myself how to throw a football and throw a baseball. And it was awkward for me going through middle school and high school because I was so far behind developed in sports, from everyone else that had taken the time with their dads to go play sports. And so I played every sport to try to catch up. And I was pretty piss poor at all of them, but good enough. And I was funny enough because I had enough trauma to be able to fit in and kind of blossom in college. But I mean, it's just like, man, it's all about time. Because that's the point of all of this is like, how do you build the systems, which is funny because when you build a business, and you can take me if I'm ranting a little bit too much here, but when you build a business, you build this ego alongside it that says, I'm the guy that gets shit done, or I'm the girl that gets shit done. No one can do this better than me because you're the entrepreneur, you're the CEO, you're the founder. But that same belief is the thing that's preventing you from spending time with your family, because if you're a true entrepreneur to its fullest extreme, true entrepreneurship is how do I build a system to where I become insignificant? So if you have a company that's completely dependent on you, that's just a job. Mm-hmm. So like the best company is where does the system work so that your time is completely insignificant? They're actually, you being in the meetings and you being on site is actually worse for the company because you're distracting everyone. Mm-hmm. That's the goal. So you can disappear to Italy with your family, So That's what I'm building. That's how I think of things. I don't think of things like I want to make more money. Dude, I make more money right now than I could have fathomed. I live on 13% of my income. It's not going to make me happier.
Yep. The people talk about that, and there's different levels of wealth, whether it's $1 million, 10 million, there's a few things that change, but there's not a lot of big change after, $5 million.
Have you heard the game of millions?
No, I don't think so.
All right. So it's my favorite game. So level 1 of the game of millions is make $1 million. Mm-hmm. So how do you make $1 million a year? Second level of the game of millions is how do I earn $1 million a year? So profit, like take home on the tax return. Third level of the game of millions is how do I pay my top employees $1 million a year? So how do I build my life and my vision and my business so big that there's a world where I can pay someone else $1 million? And then the fourth level of the game of millions is how do I give $1 million away every year, personally? Mm-hmm. And so I took that from Ben Kinney, who's the CEO of Place, a big real estate company. He's from the Keller Williams world. And I was just like, that seems like a game I could play for the rest of my life. And that's fun. Like that's a cool scoreboard. So I judged my scoreboard off of how many other people can I serve. And as soon as I started doing that, like I made so much more money because I don't know, it's God, the universe, it's just like, if we give this guy money, this guy is going to take it and magnify it and distribute it to the masses. It's like, even from a biblical reference, who's going to get the bread? The guy or girl that's going to distribute it to the hungry. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's actually in your best interest to be generous. It's in your best interest, like in all capacities, because man, it's like, as soon as I started playing that game, it's like, we got about $5 million of payroll right now. And we're going up to 2 million. I'm like, dude, how can I pay my people even more? Like, I know the margin I want in my business and everything else. I'm like, I don't want a 50, 60, 70% margin. I want a margin here. And then everything else goes back into the current team. And if they're doing their job right, then we don't need to hire more people. So then they get paid more.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people probably step up to the plate because most people, hey, how do I earn more money? And a lot of them probably are going, how do I just work more efficiently, help you build a better system? Mm-hmm. A couple of these billionaires that I've flown for that I have good relationships with, like I get to spend some time, they'll come up to the cockpit for an hour. And most of the guys I fly for are really cool because I wouldn't fly for an asshole, right?
Yeah.
And I've learned that their time is valuable, just like we're busy people. Mm-hmm. So when you ask somebody that's further along than you really got to ask them a deep question, not a surface level.
Not really a money question.
It's not a money because the money I don't really care, right?
Yeah.
But I've asked them like 2 questions that I love asking. One, and it goes for any business owner too. I've asked these guys that are very successful, what is the one thing, if you could pick one thing in your life and in your business that really made you successful, what was it? And 90%, 95% said that it's the people they hired. They hired the right people. It wasn't, hey, my idea. It was none of this Not a single guy said I. Actually, one's a female too. A lot of them are in tech, but it was all around the team.
Oh, yeah.
And I found that very interesting, but also it's like, wow, well, duh. But then again, as I build a business myself too, and go through employees and exit partnerships and kind of surround myself, kind of a conversation we were having before. If you choose the right people and give them a runway and say, here's where we're going, I'm going to hire people smarter than me.
Yeah. Poor people think me, rich people think we. So it's if you play a me sport, that's a 5 or 6 figure sport. If you play the we sport, that's a 7, 8, and 9 figure, and in your case, 10 figure sport. So my favorite business framework that I got from my mentor worth hundreds of millions of dollars, named David, is I do it, we do it, they do it. That's how I live my entire life. And so I do it, I go do the function. I go do the sales, I go do the marketing, I go do the fulfillment, whatever. I build the thing. We do it. Now we do it together as a team. I hire people as support, and then eventually they do it. They do it better than I could have done it ever. And now they can do it without me. And so that's how I run every single business is I do, we do, they do. And that's all I think about, to your point. And another thing that is really funny, because again, I'm in kind of a similar world that you are, where I get to meet a lot of ultra high net worth individuals. And so my favorite icebreaking question to them, and something that people can take away, is, what are you working on that most excites you right now? Oh man. And you get them fired up. And what I've come to find out is every single one of these cats is obsessed with something weird. All of them. It's like Pokemon cards or skateboarding, or like there's something that, like, because rich people are obsessive by nature. And so they're obsessed over something. And so if you want to stand out in a networking situation, like, you go find that rich person in the room, and instead of asking them business advice or asking them real estate advice, you go up to them and you're like, hey, what are you working on that really excites you right now? Or like, what really excites you right now? What fires you up? And they'll tell you this obscure thing. It's wine sometimes. And then you go find something that lights that candle, and then you're going to be the person that they call back and that stands out to them so much. So I go find like all of these crazy little ways to give like meaningful gifts like that. And then we send the gifts to them. And that's how I've kept and built really, really cool relationships.
I mean, it's really smart. And number one, it shows you care if you're talking about a special gift.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, the guy likes wine, I got him a cool wine. Well, he can buy his own wine. But if you listen in really on a conversation and take something away obscure, like you're saying, and turn that into a gift, they're always going to remember you.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are always trying to buy their time or get some advice, right? I'm sure they hear it all day long.
Oh, the coolest present I ever got was one of my buddies from college, AJ. He bought me this book where I've got like this list of hotels that I'm visiting. I've got a makeshift list of the top 100 hotels in the world that I want to visit, where it's just like by pedigree, by popularity, by prestige. Like I want to go to the 100 best hotels in the entire world, so I can say I've had the best in the world, period. And he found this book in this like library, in this like bookstore in England, and it was like top 50 hotels in the world. And he sent it to me, and he goes, to help you on your quest or something. And I was like, this is the coolest present I've ever gotten. Another one, again, is like, what do you get somebody for their birthday that already can buy stuff? Another really cool present I got was I've got the Colosseum tattooed on my thigh, and it says "Non io critico che canta," which is Italian for "It's not the critic who counts," which is from "The Man in the Arena" by Theodore Roosevelt. And so they got this wood burned, like slab of wood. It's like oak, and it's in wood burned on it. They've got the Colosseum, and they have "The Man in the Arena." It's so cool. I've got it hanging in my office.
I mean, that's like a thoughtful, deep gift.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only gifts that matter. And and that's not like a like $30,000 watch. It's like that's cool, man. That was so cool.
Takes more thought, right? And
takes a lot more thought.
Yeah. Let's get into the Action Academy a little bit.
Yeah, let's rip.
So
actually provide some value to people.
Yeah, I mean, I love the conversation.
We talked a lot of philosophy, but yeah,
and I'm okay with that. We kind of it's not what I was planning, but I also know we're similar in a way. We have a similar mindset. So we'll touch on that, but I want to make sure we deliver some impact for listeners, because A lot of people that listen to my podcast are trying something new. They're real estate investors. They're business owners that are adding a second business. I think a lot of the people specifically listen to my podcast can really relate to you and get advice. So you run a community called Action Academy, also have a podcast. And really it's trying to inspire, from what I take, it's trying to inspire people to get out of a 9-to-5, chase a life you want to live, not just have a job. Buy businesses, buy back your time, give, and have real experiences with people. So if you can dive in a little bit of what are you doing at Action Academy and how you're making an impact on people.
So Curt, I do this crazy thing where it's like I take this course, and then in the course you learn how to sell courses, and then they learn how to sell courses, and then we make millions of dollars. No. Yeah, so we have a mastermind, and what it does is it helps people replace the job they hate with a life and business that they love. That's the goal. And so emphasis on life and business, because we realized, oh my God, we're getting everybody all this acquisition, and now they're freaking out, and they're working even more hours than they were in their job. And I was like, why? And we realized that everybody that's teaching anything online or that's talking about anything online, in particular acquisition, doesn't even know 66% of the game, which is the other 2 parts of the formula. Because there's 3 parts to this freedom formula, and acquisition is only the first part. So acquisition, of course, is what we help people do. We help people buy commercial real estate and small businesses. We've done $632 million of acquisition through members, almost $1 billion fucking dollars of acquisition over the last 3 years. That is sick, if I do say so myself. And so the average member in Action Academy does $1.027 million of acquisition per year. Crazy. We know our numbers. And so acquisition's cool, right? So why am I saying that acquisition's not everything? It's because say that you're a sales manager and you make $250,000 a year like me, and you go buy a boutique hotel, right? One of the asset classes that we teach people to buy, along with small businesses, mobile home, multifamily, all the stuff. And you go buy that boutique hotel. Now you're a manager of an owner of a boutique hotel. You have no idea how to run a boutique hotel. And so everyone thinks all the podcasts end there. I bought a boutique hotel. I bought a plumbing company. I bought a storage facility. And then they just act like now they're financially free. But everybody that's been in the game is like, it comes from the operations, man. So it's like, you're not finishing the game, you're starting the game. And so acquisition, step 1. Step 2, we call acclimation. Step 3, we call architecture. So we help people do all 3. Acquisition, buy the assets. You now possess ownership. You go through deals across your desk, underwriting, LOI, diligence, closing table, acquisition. Pretty simple, actually. Not easy, simple. Acclimation is now you're mentally and operationally getting accustomed to being the boss. Because a lot of people have not been in leadership roles before. So now, A, you're the person that's driving all the results and leading a team now. B, now you need to figure out what you do with your time. Because what most people do is they're used to, I work harder, I make more money. And all of a sudden, you're 4 years into ownership of this asset, and you're working harder than you did in your job. And you go, wait a second, I thought this was passive, right? Uh-oh, what went wrong? It's because you didn't realize what makes it passive, which is architecture. So architecture is what yields passivity. So it's people, processes, and profits. So architecture is where you build out your meeting cadences. So we use EOS. So we run an L10, which is a level 10 meeting every single week. And it's teaching people, okay, here's how you hold people accountable to milestones, to rocks, to KPIs, to deliverables. You have a written plan. You have a scoreboard for the company. You have a scoreboard per employee. You have a chest to poke and a throat to choke for every single function of the business. And that's how you actually are able to build a system in a business that runs without you, because business in its truest sense is a conveyor belt where it has a lead and it has a source of income. It goes through operations and it spits out profit. It's a sequential conveyor belt. And so if there's something wrong in business, it's either a kink in the lead flow, it's a kink in the delivery, or it's a kink in finance and legal on the back end. So it's just like, that's what we do at Action Academy, is we help people through the entire process, because everyone else is, pay me $30,000, buy a boutique hotel, thanks. Pay me $20,000, learn multifamily, thanks. We'll teach you how to buy a small business. Great job. Brother, you run 9 plumbers now that are coming to you for their payroll. That's a lot. And, handling the Bible, we just didn't know what we didn't know until we ran through it a couple hundred times ourselves. And we were like, oh, we need more hand-holding here and support here. And candidly, the reason I didn't talk about it was I do this crazy thing called do what you're teaching first. And so I was like, how about I go build up my company to an 8-figure company from scratch and just get in the lab for a couple of years, then I'll come teach that stuff. So now we feel good about teaching that stuff because we did it. And now we can come back and say, hey, here's how you hire and fire an employee. We just talked about that when I walked into the studio today. How do you set your scorecards? How do you do all of this? There's no book you can read. You can read Traction and it's laughable. I read Traction before I had a business. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Ho, ho, ho. I know what to do. Then you run a business and you're like, got it. So yeah, that's what we do at Action Academy. We have 532 members. Right now we're adding 40, 50 members a month, 47 out of the 50 states in the continental United States. Yeah, it's a blast. We'll be an 8-figure company next year.
Yeah, I love it. I watch a lot of your content. I think it's really cool. From what I've heard I've seen your meetups or your conferences you've had. I saw you did one in Tulum. And, it seems great. And I love that you hit on it. I mean, I'm in a mastermind. It's a real estate specific mastermind.
Oh, which one?
I'm in the boardroom with Kent Clothier.
Oh, I've heard nothing but great things
honestly,
about Kent.
So
it's a lot of the business side. I love that because investors get to the 7-figure level with the stuff they teach in the boardroom, takes you to 8-figure level because now you're a business owner that's running a real estate business.
Yeah, his motto is from hustler to CEO.
Beautiful.
And for me, it's perfect.
Yeah, I need to have Ken on the podcast. I love what
he's great.
About.
And I will say, so as someone that I've kind of learned a lot from YouTube, free talking to people, whatever it is, I've been able to be successful at what I'm doing. But I finally kind of hit something where I was like, man, I'm kind of being held back by certain partners
math ain't math. And
math ain't math. I think my goals got bigger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, I'm real smart, I think, but I need coaching. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't I don't need hand holding. And so I interviewed Go Abundance was a good one. Multiple of our friends are in it.
I've been there 6 years.
And a couple of my buddies like Blake and Dave and all these guys are like, what are you exactly looking to get? And they pushed me away from Go Abundance just because they're like, it's great, but it doesn't fully sound like what you want. You want way more business strategic, build a portfolio to exit someday.
I agree.
And then in Kent, for Kent's boardroom, you had to kind of interview to get in there. He doesn't just allow, there's no new people in there. It's kind of a good thing because he goes, so you break out into rooms every quarter. You do an event somewhere, you break out into rooms and there's 20 to 30 people. You get 30 minutes to present. They give you structure. Tell us real quick about your business. What are your pain points? How can we help? And then they make you set 3 goals, hard ones to accomplish in 90 days. And then you review it in 90 days. Mm-hmm. We also do Zoom calls. Long story short, I like it because there's other people pouring into you in the room. Mm-hmm. Whether they're in some type of business, and here it's all real estate.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't
a lot of commercial.
Lot of commercial.
My buddies are mobile home, storage, multifamily. Yeah.
So for me as a developer, I moved into commercial, so I do industrial.
Yeah.
I love the asset class. Even though there's guys that aren't just in industrial, they're building massive 400 home communities, or so we're talking land development, title, permit, anything that you need, and you're getting coaching not just from Kent, who's a really successful business guy, but now you're talking to people that are doing the same thing in the fight every single day that you're doing.
Yeah,
and I love that. I mean, just to tie it all together, it sounds like you're doing exactly that, but maybe for more beginners, because if you want to buy multifamily, like you said, there's coaches out there, you pay, but then they're gone. And now if you raise money and go get a multifamily property like we're seeing out there, people are walking away and investors are losing all their money right now.
Yep.
There is blood in the streets, in my opinion, in multifamily.
1,000%.
And some of these people are actually good at what they do and they bought wrong and they're losing their butt.
Because they bought on floating rate debt, right? But here's the thing, here's what's pissing me off right now is you have operator A, you have operator B. Everyone was buying multifamily in 2016 to 2022. And so operator A is like, oh, yeah, we were doing 1031s. We had fixed rate debt. We had all this stuff. Operator B got some floating rate debt. Now, granted, we're not talking about people that were stupid. We're talking about good operators. And I hate how operator A is shitting on operator B right now because they took floating rate debt, but that's what they needed to do to match the pref returns that everyone else was offering. Like, you're not going to be able to match the returns unless you had floating rate debt. And it's what happened. And then you buy rate cap insurance, and now all of a sudden the rate cap insurance 10x's. And now it goes from like, oh, okay, cool. That's a $7,000 to a $70,000 or $400,000. Like Jay Scott is a friend. He was like, my rate cap insurance went from freaking, $10,000 a year for one property to like 200. That will put you out.
Yeah, that's taking the revenue.
Yeah.
Now you're.
But to your point, yeah, it's like so you don't want to be the guru. If anybody's like trying to build something, I'm not the guru in our thing. I'm really good at a very small, select handful of things. Like business buying's my thing, business building's my thing. I'm not a big commercial guy. We're building a $14.2 million boutique hotel. But again, like I'm piggybacking off of the genius of my buddy Ben Wolf and his partners. Like his GC is a genius. He's a freaking savant, Banks. And I just get to build a really cool team, and I get to be the marketing on that. But with that being said, it's the power of the community, and it's the power of the coaches and all the people that are within it. So out of the 532 people, the people we help aren't beginners per se, but they're that really good intermediate 6 to 7 figure leap. That's that's our sweet spot. So we take somebody that's like, okay, cool. I'm making $150,000 to $400,000. I'm a project manager at Amazon or something, or I'm a CPA or a sales professional or a VP of operations at this Boeing plant or something. And they've maybe got 4 Airbnbs or a laundromat or a small storage facility. And they're saying, I don't want to buy more single family. I want to really figure out like how the fuck to get out of this job that pays me $200,000 a year. I need $10,000 to $20,000 a month. Where do I go? Where are those guys and girls? And then so that's Action Academy. So we're not really for if you want to go buy a single family house, but if you want to go and you want to buy like your first storage facility, mobile home park, you don't want to buy an Airbnb, you want to buy a hotel, or right now our bread and butter is buying a small business. Like that's my favorite thing to talk about because it's the fastest way to get that $100,000 to $400,000 of cash flow. So we're kind of that 6-figure net worth to 7-figure net worth. And I would say that Kent's kind of helping people go from that 7 to 8.
I agree,
I have so much respect for Kent.
Yeah.
Never met him.
I've been impressed. So far he's been great. I mean, I just joined in April.
Yeah.
And so I'm 6 months in, but like every time I go to a meeting and then we have Zoom calls, which just happened, this was more important, but I can watch that Zoom call, but the community
is everything.
Not just like I had a private one-on-one with Kent going over business structure.
It's cool.
Yeah. And I videoed it. I go, can I video this? Because I would like to revisit this later.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did because I've watched it about once a quarter now just to remember where to go, right? But that being said, I think being a part of a community that can help with advice, we're going to have problems. I mean, we talked about a business problem with the employee coming in.
Yeah.
You got to talk to somebody, whether it's an attorney, somebody else. People have gone through the problems already that I have faced. So why not just be in a community that's going to help me solve it? And I don't think some people just don't understand. It's not buying a course. There's no course.
No. Courses are going to be dead in 5 years.
Yeah. I think it's
less.
a fade. What do you call it? I can't even think right now.
Yeah. Bullcrap.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's a phase.
But I think community is huge for mindset, support,
everything,
other investors,
everything,
partners, everything like that.
Yeah, because look, at the end of the day, it's like your cash flow is not going to hold you when you're crying at night. So, I mean, the biggest thing that I am trying to drill into my own brain as in entrepreneurship is every problem I'm stressing about that feels like the end of the world, somebody's already solved. And man, if I can get that tattooed on my freaking forehead so I can look myself in the mirror every single morning while I'm brushing my teeth and say, shut up, dude. You don't got to stress about this. You just need to find the one person out of the million that have already solved this problem and go just do what they say. And that's community. Community is everything. Everyone's like, what's the ROI on community? I'm like, well, first off, like we can go into actual hard cost, like ROI, like from a diligence perspective alone, like we've been able to veto so many deals that people were trying to do. We're like, we saved them millions of dollars in bad deals. But besides that, and having that borrowed experience, it's like, just when things go south, keeping them in the game. You know, where you lose a deal at the 13th hour that you spent 6 months in diligence on. How do you mentally recover from that or emotionally recover from that?
Yeah, because some people will hit a wall right there.
Oh, they're done.
But if they come to the community and you have support,
Yep.
some people will. I mean, we did it with Blake Daly's hotel. I'm a big partner in.
Blake's
That
the
was
homie too.
at the
I'm
20
jealous of that one. Did you get it funded?
Yeah, well, not the one right now, but the one at Tremont, like 2 years ago. At the same, we had $1 million investor sign legal docs, and 24 hours before closing, disappear and ghost us. I don't know if you ever heard that story.
That is insane.
$1 million. So we had to find $1 million in 24 hours to close because the seller had said, we cannot extend. You've already had two. Like we're going to keep your 300 grand. And you got to remember,
now with the new hotel, it's the SBA being shut down. And now he was like, yo, we need another $1 million.
Yeah.
He texted me. Dude, have you ever seen that bodybuilding video of Ronnie Coleman? And he goes, everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but nobody want to lift no heavy ass weight.
Yeah.
It's like everybody want to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to make $1 million, but they don't want to solve $1 million problems.
Yeah.
Dude, that's $1 million. That's physically $1 million problem.
And it really, like you said, it comes down to your network and community.
Yeah.
You know, with Tremont, I think me and Blake didn't sleep for the last 24 hours, and we were making calls, and we actually got it done. We did like a 500 grand like bridge loan, and then we raised the other $5 just to bring, and then we ended up suing the guy that screwed us out of $1 million. We just got him for like legal fees and a fee.
Yeah.
And long story short, the community is what brought that. And then Blake was worn out, and I'm like, hold on, I got some energy. Like I brought like whatever $1.5 million to that deal. I'm like, I worked so hard, I don't want to like throw it all away.
Yeah.
And $4 million was sitting in the bank to close. We needed the last $1 million, and the guy like ghosted us. So, moral of the story: community is everything. And when you burn out or you get tired or you don't have a way to answer a problem in business, in real estate, whatever it may be, or it might be personal life, right?
Divorce.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm learning more, like I'm connecting for me in the boardroom with the people that have kids, but that are really want to be a part of the kid's life.
Yeah, correct.
Because there's people
even. You're clear on your 1%.
I'm clear. I'm like, how do I make more money and less effort? And for me, what I've learned is better partners or more of them. Mm-hmm. So when I was new, it was like, oh, hold on, you're a hustler? Great. Now I don't hire hustlers. Mm-hmm. It is, hold on, you're a CFO. You can manage all the money. You have banking contacts. That's a huge piece that I don't have, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I just went through a raise conversation with one of our team members, and I told him, I was like, $8,000 to $9,000 a month is a hustler. You're an individual contributor. Once you're into six figures, like you're either specialized in something or you're now into a leadership tier. And if you're making mid six figures to high six figures, like you better make it rain from a management side, and you better build out an entire business division. Like if you're talking about intrapreneur versus entrepreneur, like somebody working in the business, like you need to build out an entire business division and a vertical and show me that profit and loss statement, and I'll pay you on the profit. You know what I mean? So like that's what we're moving towards, is like that type of entrepreneur. But I mean, to your point about the power of community, I just posted this video. Amazon today is laying off 30,000 of its workforce. It's the second biggest cut. I think it's actually the first biggest cut, like the largest cut that they've ever made. And so right now, if you're in tech and you're making six figures, you're just kind of sitting around waiting to be fired right now.
AI.
Yeah, dude, AI is coming. And who are the biggest investors in AI? Like Meta, Facebook, Google, all these people, like big trillions of dollars. So of course they would need an ROI on that $1 trillion of investment, right? And so right now it's like, okay, if I'm in tech, I'm looking at my cash right now. I'm not going to freaking Mykonos or Ibiza. I'm looking at my cash. I'm like, okay, what's 6 months of living expenses that I can save? And how do I build up my community and network with all these real estate pros and all these business pros? How do I learn this skill set? I'll give you a story that perfectly illustrates this. I had a guy that was named Kyle, and he was in my community. He was a VP of sales for a tech company, built it from the ground up, make $400,000 a year. Kyle goes and has a baby, so he has his son. And now all of a sudden, Kyle comes back from paternity leave and reorg. Done. Fired. But Kyle had been a member of Action Academy for over a year. And now when he joined, he said, I like my job. I'm keeping my job. I make good money. I just want to learn this stuff and build my community throughout. I can point to that now and say, if we just did one thing in the entire history of the community, we already won from that. Because Kyle had all this access to capital. He had access to partners. He found a partner, Ashley, in the community. 3 months later, he posted and he goes, I'm not getting another effing job. I'm going to go buy a business. I'm going to be a business owner. He goes and finds this deal in Fairbanks, Alaska with Ashley. That's a Northern Lights tour company, $2.1 million of revenue. Freaking half the year, they're not even operational. They come to me. I fund it. He's a business owner making 6 figures now. That he can't be fired because he runs the company. So I'm like, yo, if you don't want to be fired and you're in tech right now, the only person that can't fire you is you. So you better put yourself in that position. And you got to learn that skill set, it's community, it's capital. Like there's so many values to community. I mean, dude, capital alone. Everyone seems to complain about lack of capital, but I'm like, every onboarding call we do, there's like 4 or 5 guys and girls that are like, hey, I've got like $400,000 I want to invest. If anybody on here wants any passive capital. I'm like, where's it difficult to raise capital again? You guys are in the wrong rooms. I'm like, dude, I did 1.4 million from a 30-minute webinar. But then again, a lot of people know, like, and trust me because I don't ask for anything. And my hotel was a cool deal. But I'm jealous of Blake's new hotel. That thing looks so cool. I was like, man, I want to be in this so bad, but I want to be on the GP. Anyways, I'm rambling. We'll log back in.
No, it's good. I love being, I agree. Like the tech is a big thing. And I think even like for myself, getting into real estate, like I fly private jets, but I don't really have a job. And I'm a little different because I'm not on salary with anybody. I'm not on call, any of it. I'm a contract guy. If I don't want to work, I don't work. Like I just go do whatever I want. But I'm an entrepreneur that way. And I built a network that multiple different people call me to fly. And I'm like, where's it going? Going to Fiji, Cabo, Hawaii? Okay, those, Milan? Cool. I'm going to go to vacation in Milan and make a bunch of money. But at any time, like I don't have to go to work. Like I want to do real estate. You know what I mean? So I travel and go do deals, and that's why I'm here in Austin. And I'm different. Most pilots are either work at an airline and they have their schedule. It's still a good job. It's probably a more fun job than most, but you got to work so many hours a month to get your benefits and all that. I kind of found a different way to do it. And there's a few like me, but not a lot. But couple little bit of questions before we wrap it up. What's one belief about money or freedom that used to serve you, but now it holds people back?
The idea that if I work harder, I make more money. Like in the beginning, like that takes you up to a decent amount of money, but not like wealth, right? If you want wealth, it's like your money's got to be coming for you in your sleep. Like you got to be making money from a system and from people. So now it's like I actually need to still hold myself back and kind of be like, okay, wait, how do I build my team instead of building my business? And the team builds the business. And so now I have to actively be like, okay, now I work less and I invest my money into assets that produce money for me. And now it's to a point where we've built this giant income machine. To now I take the income machine that we've got built, money printer go burr. I take that, I put it into assets, and then eventually I want to get to a point where I just live purely off of my asset income. Now, I've got great passive income coming in from my businesses that I've purchased, but that's still the problem. It's still the same problem, still symptom of the same disease. It's still active income coming in. So until I have like purely passive income coming from real estate again, then it's a rough circuit. But in the beginning, when you're first getting started, I work harder, I make more money, but you can't hustle and grind your way to $1 million a year, like take home. Like you gotta build systems and leverage and people.
I feel like in most businesses, any form of entrepreneurship or even corporate ladder, $1 million might be like the top scale. I'm not talking like CEO of a huge company. I'm talking like if you work a 9 to 5 and maybe you make $400,000 or $500,000, you're an engineer or whatever it may be, right? And then you have a 5 to 9 and you're flipping homes or doing this. For me, I felt like, and a lot of people I talk to, it's like that $1 million, but you're working your butt off. But it gets a lot easier to start replacing, like, for example, stop flipping homes, get out of residential, move into a boutique hotel commercial. Now you got a couple partners. I'll tell you, I work less on real estate now. I work with people.
Yeah.
Like I have a team that does it, but I spend 2 hours a week on real estate.
Yeah.
And I probably want to bring that up to I want to look at more deals now that like things are looking good with hopefully rates coming down. There's going to be some deals, right? Mm-hmm. And but that's way easier than flipping homes when I was doing too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that's just not how wealth works, you know. And then people also got to determine, like, do they want to be rich or do they want to be wealthy? Rich is income, wealthy is assets. But then again, also, I see people in real estate that optimize too much for wealth and not enough on rich. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people I know that are multifamily investors, they're like, I'm worth $20 million and I've got 2,000 doors. But it's all syndicated. Mm-hmm. Like, if you run a syndicate, you're employed again. Mm-hmm. Like, your boss is your investors.
100%.
And so it's just like, okay, you know, you have to make that decision consciously. So, like, for me, man, it's like, it's funny how it's like all these different levels of wealth building goes like, okay, like, I'm going to make a bunch of money to, I'm going to do all these tax strategies and take all this debt and leverage and syndicate to buy real estate. And then eventually it comes all the way back full circle to, I just want to make a bunch of money and just buy my real estate cash. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'm back to is like, I kind of just want to save up millions of dollars from like my business and profit and just buy these buildings cash. I want to buy like office buildings cash. I want to buy industrial buildings cash and then just have those things freaking print. Now, obviously debt is good, but I mean, when it comes to like the syndicate, like I'm like, we're syndicating for the hotel. It was 14, we raised 4. But I mean, it's like, whoo, man. Because everyone that's running a syndication right now over the last couple of years, like today, they ain't sleeping. Mm-hmm. They ain't even shitting right now because that stress. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it just depends on what assets. Like I run syndications for my developments.
Yeah.
Luckily, people invest with me because they know, like, and trust me. Mm-hmm. But I still have to, I report monthly, and I'm good with it. That's probably my strength. You know, I'm doing videos, photos of the build. But it's still, you have to report. Like you have a fiduciary responsibility.
Correct, to your investors.
You know, to your investors. My goal through Kent is like, well, what is your goal? And I gave him a number goal. He goes, well, why do you want the number doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, good point. And he goes, I know that's not what it is. You just did that because I asked you real quick.
Yeah.
What do you want in life? And I went, oh shit, all right. Because at first it was like, why are you here? And I'm like, I want to make, and then I'm like, and then he got to a thing where I guess it's in a book, but he goes, describe me your perfect day. Like no money, no nothing. What? And I think
what's your perfect Tuesday?
Yeah. Everyone should do that.
Yeah.
Because in the back of my head, I knew it, but I never really spoke it out loud.
So what is your perfect day?
For me, I said, and it's still the same thing. It's waking up on a boat. I'm not saying it's got to be a super yacht. For me, it's like a 50-foot catamaran.
Yeah.
Like I want to buy one. It's on my board. And wake up. Doesn't matter. Some ocean. Caribbean, Bahamas, Fiji.
Get this guy a body of water.
Doesn't matter. Give me a body of water
stat.
Yeah. With my Starlink and my family.
Yeah.
That's it. Hopefully my dad, we're surfing, we're catching up, we're getting some fish. But I like doing a little bit of work. So I got my Starlink and maybe I'm just looking at a couple properties maybe to purchase. Not doing admin, not controlling, no employees, no nothing. And then, catching fish, frying it right there or cooking it right there. Getting some culture. That's it.
That's a dangerous guy to compete with because you'd go longer than anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I optimize for is like, and it's funny when somebody does the perfect day exercise, then they can realize what I like to do is I like to figure out like, what are the ingredients that bake the cake of a perfect day? Because then you'll realize, oh my God, it's not that much. So for me, I enjoy living somewhere where I can walk and I don't have to drive everywhere. And so like maybe like especially in Europe, I can just like stand like in the middle of a town square or downtown, and I could just like walk like in Barcelona, walk down to a cafe, get a good cappuccino in the morning. I love a good cappuccino in the morning. And I listen to a podcast, I read a book, I consume some type of education, I get some sunlight. I want to have a nice sunny day. I'm always going to chase summer. No matter if it's getting too cloudy wherever I am or too hot, even in Austin, it's too hot, so I go to Europe. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I want that. I want a nice sea breeze. I want to go to the beach if I feel like going to the beach, but I just want that breeze. I want to see the water over there. And I want to have at least one meaningful conversation with somebody interesting. That's really interesting to me. I want to do work that I feel inspired by that moves the needle towards a big goal that I can say I made progress today on something impactful. And just like I want to see some friends. You know, that's a good day for me. Oh, and get some physical activity in. I want to get a lift in. I want to go to the gym. You know, and so I mean, just throw a family in there too. Like, say it's not that. Yeah, like that's not. Oh, I get off my helicopter onto my freaking super yacht and drive my Ferrari off of that into the Italian coast.
Yeah.
No, dude, it's like if people could just boil it down. It's like we all just want love. Like, you know,
To do what you love.
and to do what you love. Yeah, I mean, if we all could just optimize for that and just identify that 1% again, like. Man, all the rest of this stuff will come so much more fast.
Yeah.
But nobody takes the time to do it.
You know, the other thing I think that I learned or realized, and this year I kind of hit burnout earlier this year, first time in my life.
Oh, I'm with you, dude.
Yeah, and it was weird. I stopped going to my office for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I went and played golf for the first time in 4.5 years. I've been on the grind mode. For me, it was I had my first kid, and just like we talked about earlier, I'm like, you know what? He's a little baby. He doesn't need me too much. Like, I want to be there, but I'm going to grind right now.
Yeah, sure.
So that I'm the dad playing baseball every day.
Yeah.
Not working later. And it worked for a while. And then I finally hit burnout. But as an entrepreneur, I could just keep going. The problem is I would just keep going for 20 or 30 years chasing stuff. And what I realized, even after having this talk with Kent about the perfect day, I'm like, wait, I can have those perfect days now.
Yeah.
Like, why? I don't have to like own the boat and live on the boat all year.
Yeah.
I just go charter the yacht for a week or two. And so I focus more this year on slowing down and living more perfect days.
Oh yeah, man. It's freaking awesome when people, and the thing is people, well, first off, most don't even have that defined. When you do have it defined, you're immediately in the top 10%. Like you're at the top end of the bell curve for getting what you want if you just know what you want. But also knowing what you don't want is powerful. Like not wanting something is as important and as powerful as having it, right? And so there's a lot of things I don't want. And so it makes it more powerful and easy for me to be happy. And so it's just like, for me, I want that perfect day. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to work towards that. But people have that fear of failure. And so that's why they keep working this job that they hate, you know, hoping that one day something changes. But it's like, you just got to get past that fear of failure, man. It's like, once you get past that initial fear, then it's so much closer. I think, man, I would even make a statement where if people are in the right rooms, if anybody's in the right room around the right people with the right ideas, the right mindset, 3 years, 0 to millionaire, I think solid 3 years of hard work, busting ass, for sure. You can go from 0 to millionaire. I'm talking 0 in the bank account. 0 knowledge, 0 skill sets. You can, with the right people, dude, you can do that in 3 years. I saw this guy at this conference that we were just at. He's one of the co-founders of WHOP, W-H-O-P. Guy's 26 years old. And he goes, yeah, you know, I was raised up, you know, I did a Montessori school, so they didn't really put me in the traditional school system. So I just taught myself how to code. And in the Montessori school system, like the kids can go just wherever they're interested. And so their genius blossoms. And this guy's a freaking genius. I call it his oven just burns hotter than mine, right? And so he was like, yeah, and then we failed here, then failed here. And then we just like locked the fuck in. And then we figured out what we want to do with WAP. And then, you know, we got to $50 million a month. And we're like, why don't we do $100 million a month? And I was just like, how do you think bigger than me? Oh, because nobody told him he couldn't. Nobody told him he couldn't. So we all start there. That's where we all start. That is our default. But we're just stamped by the school system and by childhood and by external resources and environments into conforming to what is normal. And normal didn't exist until we just made it exist, right? And so it goes back to the power of community, kind of in closing, is like, community is everything. And so you'll rise or fall to the level of the tribe that you're around. And so, I mean, I could tell you from all my rich friends and wealthy friends and from my bank account, my personal financial statements, all of my money goes into what room I'm in, period. Like everything. I'm in Tony Robbins Platinum Partners. I'm in Cole Gordon's 8-figure boardroom. You know, like if I was carrying to scale my real estate portfolio to that level, I'd do Kent's. But like all my resources go into people. Yeah. And brand, which leads to people like this.
Yeah. And it returns.
It's an infinite return.
It's infinite. You can't even put a number on it. You don't need to.
Infinite return.
Because relationships, experiences, everything else is kind of what we're looking for anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not in the boardroom. I joined it to get real estate to CEO go really big. And then it's like, hold on. I'm getting different things that I knew I wanted or didn't know what I wanted. But it's like, well, now I'm building relationships with better people and I have a new circle. And maybe it's my boardroom circle, but it's like, holy crap. This is the circle I actually wanted to be in.
Yeah.
Not about real estate, more about family and charity and things like that.
Man, I sat next to this billionaire. I'll keep this story brief because I don't know how much it serves the audience, but it's a good perspective and a mindset thing. So I sat next to this billionaire at the Tony Robbins like Platinum Finance thing, and we had like Ray Dalio, Mark Cuban were the speakers, and this guy's, you know, we're talking about like our vision for our dream life. So it's like, how much does your dream life cost if you could do anything? And then he was talking about this pool that he was installing. He's like, oh, I'm already installing this pool. You know, I'm spending $1 million on this pool. I'm like, you're spending $1 million on a pool? And he goes, yeah, I used to think that too, because in your brain, you're trained like, oh, that's materialistic, dude. We don't buy things. Things control you. You don't own things. Your things own you. And he goes, I used to think that too. He goes, he's like, man, this is 3% of my income. And he was like, so think about and pay attention to the thoughts that you're having around $1 million for my pool. Just realize in perspective. He goes, so it's just like, I was like, So I was kind of poo-pooing on people's watches out and on the cars and on the jets and on the stuff. And there's sometimes where I'm like, got it. Okay. That actually is such a small, insignificant portion of your income that like, I understand. So it works both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
All right, a couple last questions before we wrap up. What's one lesson about success you've learned that most people don't want to hear?
That if you haven't taken the conscious time and effort to define what success is for you as an adult man or woman, you are living your parents' definition of success, not yours. Unless you have consciously taken the time and effort, which most people haven't. So it's they use this analogy where it's hardware and software. So it's like a computer system, right? So you have like the computer is the actual like MacBook that opens up, and then the software is the program that runs on it. So when you think of the human body and think of us as adults, men and women, that's your hardware, that's your MacBook. Software was downloaded onto you as a child from your parents and from your school, from your teachers, from your environment. Again, unless you consciously have updated that software, you're running somebody else's program. So a lot of what you think success is just actually somebody else's complete definition, not yours. So that's what most people wouldn't like to hear, because they'd be like, oh shit, you know, wait, why am I in the marriage I'm in? Why am I living in this house? Why do I even like these people? Do I like what am I wearing? You know, because it's just you fit in. You blend in. So that's what I would say about success, is that.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Yeah. What keeps you up at night?
The idea of dying an early death and not fulfilling my what I'm capable of, not fulfilling my potential, not living like the absolute maximum capabilities that I can in life, you know, that. So I'm like, man, what, like, because once you get to 30, it's like, you know, people that have kind of died in every way, like car crashes, plane crashes, cancer, heart attack, pit bull comes and runs you down, you get infected from the bite, so many different ways, and just people die way too young. And then you kind of get that mortality. And so I'm like, man, I'm trying to do so much good stuff that like, I'm not even scared of death from a religious context because I'm a believer, I'm a Christian. But it's like, man, I would freaking hate to go at 40 or 50 years old in a freak accident or something and not be able to have that compounding nature of my life. Because I'm like, man, if I can just be here to 100 and 120, dude, I'll help billions of people. But, you know, like I look at, you know, two dudes, whether you like him or dislike him or agree with him or disagree with him. I wasn't a big follower of his thing, but Charlie Kirk messed me up, man. Because I saw that guy, I was like, that guy's just speaking on a college campus on a Tuesday. And all of a sudden, the world saw a bullet go through his neck. He's 33. Like, he's like not much older than me. And like, that's a guy that could have maybe been a president. Again, I'm not endorsing him. There's some stuff he said I disagreed with, some stuff I agreed with, but like, I just don't like radical politics either way. Steve Irwin, another guy I look at, my main guy I look at, like Crocodile Hunter, beloved by a nation. When you think of a country, you think of Steve Irwin. When you think of Australia, you think of Steve Irwin. An argument could be made that that's the best life lived. For somebody to associate an entire country with you. I don't think there's a person in the world that has a bad thing to say about Steve Irwin, which think about how cool that is.
Yeah, and think about, he built a brand before people even talked about building a personal brand.
Correct. I mean, and he was just such an awesome dude, and like to have him go so young, you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's really cool seeing his kids.
Oh, it's so cool.
Take over where he
Robert
left
Irwin. Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, I mean, so that's what keeps me up at night. It shouldn't, because I have no control over that. And so that's stuff that I work on mentally. So the curse of the entrepreneur is that not as much depression, more so anxiety, because anxiety is an overactive brain. So like the job of the entrepreneur to stay in the game is to slow your brain down, because anxiety is just like bringing forward all the pain of the future that is possible that's not even real. And so, dude, turbulence hits a plane, and I'm like, I'm dying. It's insane. So that's why the first time I flew private, I was like, hey, man, how's this going to be compared to commercial? Like, he's like, it's going to be bumpier. I'm like, I may go fly Southwest.
Just depends on the day.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it day by day.
All right. That's good. We talked about a couple books that sounds like big impacts on you. I know you're a big reader, but what's one that made a big impact that you would recommend for listeners to read that gear towards like the Action Academy for someone to take action? We talked a lot about philosophy, but let's give them like a business book or something that will inspire them to not just stick to their 9 to 5 and chase, you know.
I was going to give you a philosophy book. I'll give you two.
I'll challenge you.
I'll give you two answers.
Okay.
Okay. Business one, I would say right now I'd probably say 10x is easier than 2x. Love that book.
Dan Sullivan, I think.
Yeah, Dan Sullivan, Ben Hardy. I think that's a good one. No matter where you're at, you're just like a 10x goal is easier to accomplish than a 2x goal. It talks about Parkinson's law, which I talked about in my book. I would say from passive to passionate. How to quit your job, grow your wealth, turn your passions into profits by Brian Luebben.
I like it.
That's a good one, man, because I talk a lot about Parkinson's law, which is, you know, the work expands to the time allotted for its completion. So if you have a 6-year goal and you just make it 6 months instead, odds are you'll probably still hit it. And now you have 5.5 years to work on your next goal. That was my exact situation. So I'm going to leave corporate in 6 years. I left in 6 months. So I would say that. And then for philosophy, I would say Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. Cool. Really good one. To where it's basically saying that the discrepancy between reality and what your expectation of reality is dependent on how happy that you'll actually be. So the more that you can just accept whatever's happening and flow through it and just keep trucking, the better you'll be. But I would say 10x is easier than 2x would be my sleeper pick.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone that was just like a power plant of energy, where I'm like, I want people to say, this is an interesting one, because when Jimmy Buffett died, I actually want to be like that. Specifically Jimmy Buffett. Like, it's such a weird niche example, but when he died, so many people, like, it wasn't like celebrities coming up with these Jimmy Buffett stories. It was like bartenders in Key West, and they're like, oh yeah, this one time Jimmy just like complete stranger, just like my boat was stuck out in the bay, and it was like 2:00 in the morning. He just pulled up with a tequila bottle and towed me in, and then he like let me stay at his house like so cool. And like Steve Irwin is another way that I'd like to be remembered. So overall, like somebody that's just like that made an impact, that gave more than I took, and somebody that like when people were around, they're like, dude, he makes me feel good. Like he makes me question what is possible. That's how I want to be remembered.
I think you're well on your way.
Yeah, brick by brick, man, day by day.
I love it. I mean, that's what you're instilling in the community, and that's what it does, right? So the more people you can inspire, I mean, I think it's a life well lived, right?
Yeah, I mean, man, like right now, I mean, it's already good. I've already accomplished what I want to accomplish. Now everything is just like through God, and it's just like, let's keep trucking, man.
I love it. Well, where can people find you if they want to learn more about Action Academy and yourself?
Pretty easily. Look up my name, Brian Luebben on Instagram, Action Academy podcast. We do, and then YouTube as well. So I'd say probably Brian Luebben on YouTube and the Action Academy podcast. We do 3 to 5 episodes a week, 100,000 downloads a month. You know, we've been doing that for 4 years. Had a bunch of real cool people, guys and girls on there. You'll be on there too.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I'd say go look me up. Type in my name, and I'm everywhere, man.
Yeah, check his Instagram out. We'll add all of his links in the show notes. And thanks for coming on, man. I mean,
appreciate you.
Long
time coming.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm looking forward to learning more about Action Academy, and sounds like you got good stuff going on.
Rock and roll, man. Thanks, and guys, you better like and subscribe to his podcast. Do it.
You got it. All right, we'll see you guys next episode.